"I'm tired of your insecurity," she laughed after I found her texts. So I just packed and disappeared. 2 years later, she's begging for help after her new man started tracking her phone. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I know this is a tired trope on here, but I swear, nothing prepares you for the sheer audacity of someone who breaks your heart and then blames you for it. I've been a long-time lurker on this sub, mostly reading for the catharsis, never thinking I'd be posting my own story. This is a throwaway account, for obvious reasons. My name is Mark. For 5 years, I was in a relationship with a woman named Sarah. 5 years I thought we were building something real, something long-term. We met in college and moved in together a year later. We split the bills, we adopted a golden retriever named Gus, and our lives were woven together like a tapestry. She worked a demanding but stable job in marketing, and I was a project manager at a small tech company, saving every penny I could. I didn't care about flashy cars or designer clothes. I wanted a comfortable, secure future for us. I was devoted to her. I cooked dinner most nights, did the laundry, and was always the one to remember her mom's birthday or her favorite brand of iced tea. I wasn't a thrill seeker, and I wasn't an adventure guy. I was a man who wanted a simple, good life with the woman he loved. In hindsight, I was too accommodating, too eager to please. The little comments started a few years in, barely noticeable at first. "You're so responsible, Mark, it's cute." Then they became more direct. "I feel like we're already retired, you know? Like we're 60. She'd talk about her coworkers going on trips to Ibiza or hiking mountains in Peru, her tone always hinting at my boring lack of spontaneity. She'd say, "I wish I had a man who just booked a flight without asking," as if my carefully planned savings account was a character flaw. I shrugged it off, thinking it was just a phase or her being stressed from work. It turns out it was just an appetizer to the main course. The betrayal itself wasn't a dramatic Hollywood scene. There was no late-night confrontation, no angry phone call. It was a mundane Tuesday evening. Sarah had left her laptop open on the kitchen counter, logged into her work account. I was looking for a recipe for chicken parmesan, and I noticed a notification for an instant message from a guy named Liam. It wasn't anything serious, but it piqued my curiosity. I figured it was just a coworker. But then another message popped up, and another. The conversation had been going on for a few weeks, and it wasn't work-related. It was full of jokes, inside references, and then a message that hit me like a physical blow. "Can't wait to see you again. Last night was incredible." My stomach dropped to my feet. I read it again, my brain refusing to process the words. I scrolled up and found more messages that confirmed my worst fears. She was cheating on me. She had been for a month. The quiet nights we spent on the couch, the sweet goodbyes in the morning, the plans we were making for the future, it was all a performance. The trust one had built my life on was a lie. I didn't lose my temper. I didn't smash anything. I just stood there, staring at the screen, and I waited for her to come home. When she walked in, she was all smiles, humming a tune from the radio. She saw me standing in the kitchen, motionless, and the smile faded slightly. "Hey, what's up?" she asked. I held up her laptop, my hand steady despite the earthquake in my chest. "Who was Liam?" Her face went from calm to cold in an instant. Her eyes narrowed. "What are you doing going through my stuff?" I wasn't. I was looking for a recipe, and your chat window was open. I saw the messages. The ones about last night. My voice was a monotone, a shocking contrast to the chaos inside me. She didn't deny it. She didn't apologize. She looked at me, and a cruel, smug laugh escaped her lips. "Oh, Mark," she said, shaking her head as if I were a child who had done something silly. "I can't be with a man who is so insecure that he goes through my phone. I need a real man who trusts me." The air in the kitchen went thin. She had taken her betrayal and twisted it into my character flaw. She had a choice to be a good person, and she chose not to be. Now, she was making it my fault. Her face, once the face of the woman I wanted to spend my life with, was a mask of cold entitlement. It was the moment I realized I didn't know the person standing in front of me at all. I wasn't the man who was in a relationship with her. I was the man she was using to pass the time until she found someone she deemed better. The words stung, but not in the way you might think. They didn't make me want to fight or beg. They just made me want to leave. She just stood there, watching me, a smug half-smile on her face. Her cruel words hung in the air, but they no longer felt like a death blow. They felt like a truth I had been too blind to see. She wasn't just a cheater. She was a liar, a manipulator, and a coward who couldn't own her own mistakes. My heart was still in pieces, but a strange clarity was beginning to set in. The person I had built my life with wasn't real. "I don't know why you're so upset, Mark," she said, her voice dripping with condescension. "You've been telling me for years that you're committed to building a future for us. But what kind of future is that? A tiny house in the suburbs? A couple of kids and a 9-to-5 routine? I want to live. I want to travel." Liam gets that. He understands what it means to be alive. Her words weren't a plea for understanding. They were a justification. She was painting me as the villain, as the anchor holding her back from her glorious, exciting life. Her narrative was already written. She wasn't a cheater. She was a brave woman seeking a higher purpose. "Look," she continued, gesturing with her hands as if explaining a simple concept to a child. "I'm not happy. I haven't been for a while. You're a good guy, Mark, you really are. You're just safe. I need a man with fire. Liam has fire. He's impulsive. He's exciting. He's going to take me to places I've only dreamed of. You were just a stepping stone until I found better." A small part of me wanted to scream. I wanted to tell her about the sleepless nights I spent putting in overtime to save for that down payment. I wanted to tell her that I had passed on job offers in other cities because I didn't want to leave her. I wanted to remind her of the promises we had made, the future we were planning. But what was the point? She didn't want to see it. She wanted to believe her own lie, and anything that contradicted it was just a sign of my weakness. I just stood there and looked at her, truly looked at her for the first time in a long time. The woman I had loved was gone, replaced by a stranger. I saw the contempt in her eyes and the self-righteousness in her posture. It was all a performance, and I was just a prop in her story. She kept talking, but the words faded into a low hum. She was a ghost already. When she finally stopped, out of breath from her own self-serving monologue, she waited for my reaction. She expected tears. She expected a fight. She expected me to beg. Instead, I took a deep breath. "Okay," I said, my voice calm and even. "I understand." Her smug smile wavered. My response was not in the script she had written for this scene. "That's it." "Okay," she asked, a flicker of confusion in her eyes. "What else is there to say, Sarah? You've made your decision. You've told me where I stand. I understand completely." I walked past her into the bedroom. I grabbed a small duffel bag from the closet and began packing some clothes, a toothbrush, my laptop, and my passport. I didn't say another word. My quiet actions were my answer. I was not going to be the pathetic, crying ex-boyfriend. I was not going to give her the satisfaction of watching me fall apart. The 5 years we had shared were now nothing more than a memory, and I was going to treat them as such. I was gone, not with a bang, but with a quiet, decisive whisper. My silent packing was the only reaction she got. She followed me into the bedroom, looking confused, maybe even a little angry that I wasn't playing the part she had cast for me. She tried to talk, but I just kept moving. I grabbed my car keys, my wallet, and my dog's leash. Gus, oblivious to the emotional wreckage, wagged his tail and ran to the door. I clipped him into his harness and walked past her for the final time. "Where are you going?" she asked, her voice a mix of bewilderment and irritation. I didn't answer. I just opened the front door, walked out into the cool evening air, and closed it behind me. The click of the lock was the final sound of our life together. I got in my car, put Gus in the passenger seat, and drove. I drove to my parents' house, a small suburban home a couple of hours away. I didn't call ahead. I just showed up with my dog and a duffel bag, my face a blank mask. My mom, a kind and quiet woman, took one look at me and knew not to ask questions. She just hugged me, then let me retreat to my old room. For the next few weeks, I was a ghost. I blocked Sarah on every platform, not just because I didn't want to see her, but because I needed to cut the ties completely. I didn't want to know about her new life. I didn't want to see pictures of her and Liam living their exciting, spontaneous adventure. The pain was still there, a constant ache in my chest, but it was a different kind of pain. It wasn't the anguish of a broken heart. It was the pain of a phantom limb. I missed a life that never really existed. I didn't talk to our mutual friends, and when they reached out, I kept it brief. I gave them a simple, honest truth. Sarah and I broke up. It's complicated, but I'm moving on. I didn't slander her name. I didn't tell them she cheated. I just let the silence speak for itself. Some of them tried to pry, and a few of them took her side, but I didn't engage. My peace was more important than their gossip. I used the time to rebuild. I started working out again. I reconnected with my old college friends who lived nearby. I took on a new, challenging project at work that required me to travel more. I opened a new bank account and put every penny of the house down payment savings into it, a silent victory. It was a slow, quiet process, but I felt myself transforming. I wasn't just healing. I was becoming the person I had neglected while trying to build a life for someone else. My insecurity became my newfound self-reliance. My boring life became my peaceful, focused existence. The first signs of the karma came slowly, then all at once. I got a text from one of our mutual friends, Alex. Alex had always been more my friend than Sarah's, and he was the kind of guy who couldn't keep a secret. "Hey man, I don't want to talk about it, but are you doing okay?" I responded simply, "Yeah, I'm good." "What?" "Just, I saw Sarah the other day. She looked rough. And Liam, he's a piece of work. Total psycho." I didn't push for details, but a few weeks later, he called me. He'd had a few too many drinks, and the dam broke. "Dude, you were right to get out," he said, his voice low and serious. "Liam is a monster. He won't let her go out with her friends. He gets mad if she doesn't answer his texts immediately. I was at their place the other day, and he was yelling at her about a photo she liked on Instagram. Said it was disrespectful to him." My mind flashed back to her words. I need a real man who trusts me. The irony was thick enough to choke on. The trust she accused me of lacking was now a prison she had willingly walked into. The fire she craved was now burning her down. "He even makes her share her location with him at all times," Alex continued. "Like, full-on tracking. She told me he accused her of cheating on him with a guy she was talking to at a cafe. She was just ordering coffee. It's insane." My heart felt nothing. Not a flicker of satisfaction, not a hint of sympathy. It was a cold, quiet realization. She wanted a man with fire, and she got a man who would burn her life to the ground. She complained about my lack of spontaneity, and she got a man who controlled her every move. The insecurity she projected onto me was the very thing she was now being suffocated by. Her karma wasn't a punishment from the universe. It was a natural consequence of her choices. She saw a shiny new toy and didn't bother to read the warning label. And now she was paying the price. My peace lasted for about a year. By then, I had moved back to the city, not far from where I used to live, but into a much nicer apartment. I was thriving. I had a small, but comfortable, group of friends. My project at work had been a huge success, and I had gotten a significant promotion and a massive raise. The down payment savings was still in my bank account, but now it was for a condo I was planning to buy myself. I had also started dating again. Nothing serious, but it was nice to be with someone who valued me. And then, the quiet ended. It started with a text from an unknown number. "Hey, it's Sarah. I know you probably blocked me, but I'm having a really hard time. I need to talk to you." I deleted the message without a second thought. 2 days later, a long, rambling email came in. It was full of excuses, justifications, and vague references to how things hadn't worked out with Liam. I sent it straight to the trash. Then, the pleas started to get more desperate, and the sources more varied. Her friend, Jessica, messaged me on social media. "Hey Mark, Sarah is going through a lot right now. She really needs a friend. Can you please just call her? She feels so alone." I responded with a single sentence. "Jessica, I don't know why you're messaging me, but our friendship ended when my relationship with Sarah did. I'm not her friend, and I'm not here to help her." A few days later, her mom, a woman who once told me I was like a son to her, left me a voicemail. It was laced with thinly veiled guilt tripping. "Mark, this isn't like you. Sarah has always spoken so highly of you. She said you were such a kind and forgiving person. What would it hurt to just talk to her? She's in a bad place, and she needs someone she can trust." The irony was astounding. The woman who taught her daughter how to manipulate people was now trying to manipulate me. I deleted the voicemail without listening to the end. I felt nothing but a quiet anger that they would dare to interrupt the life I had so carefully rebuilt. The barrage continued. She started calling from different numbers. She sent cryptic messages. They progressed from "I'm sorry" to "I miss you" to "I need your help," he's dangerous. Her requests went from wanting me to talk to her to asking for a place to stay, alone, anything. I ignored it all. I was not her doormat anymore. Then, she showed up. It was a cold Saturday afternoon. I was in my new living room, sitting on my couch, reading. My dog, Gus, was sleeping soundly at my feet. The doorbell rang, and through the peephole, I saw her. She looked terrible. Her hair was a mess, her face was pale, and there were dark circles under her eyes. She was a ghost of the smug, confident woman who had laughed at my pain. My heart didn't race. There was no spike of panic or pain, just a quiet sense of finality. I opened the door, but only a crack, leaving the security chain on. She looked up at me, her eyes red and pleading. Mark, thank God. I didn't know where else to go. I didn't say a word. I just watched her, my face completely neutral. Liam, he's completely unhinged. He went through my phone, found out where I was going, and followed me. He locked me out of the apartment. I have nothing. Please, I just need a place to stay for a night or two. Just until I can get my things back. Her voice was full of a pathetic desperation I had never heard before. She wasn't just begging me for help. She was begging me to save her from the life she had chosen. And then, she said the words that sealed her fate. I know I messed up, but you've always been the safe one. The one who would be there for me. My blood ran cold. She still saw me as a backup plan, a security blanket. She had learned nothing. A slow, chilling smile spread across my face. The safe one, I said, my voice quiet, almost a whisper. The one who would be there for you. I looked her up and down, a calm detachment in my gaze. I've heard those words before, Sarah. In fact, you said them to me 2 years ago. Her face went blank as she tried to process my words. I continued, the cold truth landing like a gut punch. You told me you couldn't be with a man who was so insecure that he went through your phone. You said you needed a real man who would trust you. I paused, letting the words hang in the air. And now you've got him. He tracks your every move. He follows you. He doesn't trust you at all. It seems you finally got exactly what you wanted. What you needed. Her eyes filled with tears, but they were tears of shame and frustration, not sorrow. She finally saw what she had become. I can't help you, Sarah, I said, my voice firm and definitive. My life is good now. I'm not a part of your drama anymore. I'm not a safe option. I'm a man who learned from his mistakes. You're no longer a part of my story, and I am not a part of yours. I looked at the beautiful, peaceful life I had built behind me, and I looked at the miserable, broken woman in front of me. The gap was wider than any distance. Have a good life, I said. And then, I calmly and decisively closed the door. The click of the lock was a final, sweet sound. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.